What is up, everyone? This is the first of hopefully many video podcasts I do. I'm gonna do a bunch of some on sports, some on games. I'm gonna keep it open, try to talk about a lot of things. Might get some other people on with other interests, movies, whatever, just whatever's going on. And gotta stop doing that. Yeah, we're gonna take it from there. Today's we're going to talk about the Lions, and more specifically what I predict the final 53-man roster is going to be. Right now the Lions have 89 players, I think, out of the 90 they can have. I haven't heard anything about a signing today. I know they signed a tight end, the undrafted free agent tight end out of Central Michigan earlier this week. I have not heard about another signing, so the roster, I think as of right now, sits at 89. So there's a long way they got to go between now and the end of preseason to cut out the 53. And so injuries can happen. Some of these players could break out and have great preseasons, and the Lions could keep them on. But this is what I see the team looking at right now at the end of the preseason. So let's talk about the most important position first. On offense, quarterback. Stafford's going to be there, no surprise. He's the franchise quarterback. I know a lot of people argue about that, but there's no denying he is the best option on our team and out of a lot of teams in the NFL. I do think they will only carry two quarterbacks again this year like they did last. But I don't think it'll be Dan Orlovsky this year. I think it'll be Jake Rudock. And my thought process behind this is Jake Rudock is a quarterback that was good enough to be drafted. So it means you have plans for him, but there's a lot of positions that need the depth more than quarterback. Stafford's been pretty healthy the last couple of years. I think since 2011 he's been pretty solid at not being hurt. So what you would do then is keep Jake Rudock, because you don't want to risk him going to the practice squad and getting signed by another team. You keep him there on the main roster, because what you could do, say Stafford does go down, Dan Orlovsky is not the quarterback that'll be probably picked up right away. He'll be the quarterback the team will sign if there's an injury, or he won't be one of those guys a team picks off the scrap heap. So what you can do, God forbid Stafford gets hurt, and you're not comfortable with Rudock, you can bring Orlovsky back for as long as Stafford's out. He knows the playbook, he knows everything, so you can keep him kind of off to the side. I mean, he's definitely not eligible for the practice squad. But this saves Rudock, because you don't want to risk another team picking him up. And right now there's just too many other positions that need the depth, and quarterback just really doesn't right now. So I have Stafford and Rudock for two players right now. And I know that makes a lot of Michigan fans happy and a lot of Michigan fans who don't like Rudock upset. But you don't want to risk him getting picked up by another team and becoming a great quarterback. I mean, probably won't happen. Hashtag Jake Rudock. But, so two players for quarterback. Now, running back. This is an interesting position. I mean, you're probably going to carry four. I don't think they'll take five into the season. Starter's going to be Amir Abdullah. You used a second-round draft pick on him last year. He came on stronger towards the end of the season, stopped fumbling the ball. I think he is your starter. He is the starting running back. Backup is it's going to go down to either Ridley or it's going to go down to Riddick. I don't consider Riddick more of a running back. He's a wide receiver who comes out of the backfield. He is you look at his carrying stats throughout the years. I don't think he's put up 100 carries since he's been with the Lions, but he's an amazing pass catcher. You need him. He had 80 receptions alone last season, and you need that on the team as another option, especially with Calvin Johnson out. but I don't think you'll see him getting many carries. I think you'll see Stephen Ridley getting most of the carries for the backup running back. And then I have the fourth running back, so you got Abdullah, Riddick, Ridley. The fourth one I have going to Zach Zenner. Lions fans are high on Zenner. I don't get it. He's an undrafted free agent who looked good in preseason against backups and third stringers. I don't think he's that great. Good enough, maybe. But I do think he is better than George Wynn and Dwayne Washington. But I think Dwayne Washington and maybe Wynn will end up on a practice squad. Wynn just might end up off the team entirely. I think the team likes Dwayne Washington, but I think Washington's best chance of making the team is if he converts to wide receiver, because he's got great size at 6'1", 223. That's a pretty good receiver size. That's pretty tall for a running back. Running backs don't usually get over 6 foot. I mean, there's a few, but he's just a big guy who can also run a 4.40. So he's quick. I think that might be a good project receiver, a guy that you could work on there. But I don't think he'll make it as a running back on the team. I think he has to switch to wide receiver to make an impact. Fullback. Okay, so 4 people at running back, so we're up to 6 people altogether on the team as of right now. So, making sure my math is correct throughout the whole thing so I don't end up with 55 players on the team. But fullback, that's a no-brainer. Going to keep Michael Burton. The Lions like to use their fullback, as evidenced by last year. Burton got a lot of carries, not a lot of carries, but they like to use the power offense more last year. But judging by all the moves they made on the offensive line, they're wanting to become more of a power run team. So you keep the fullback. That's just, you want to become a power team, you need a fullback on the team. So we're up to 7 players now. Alright, 7. So wide receiver. This one is going to be interesting this year with Calvin Johnson retiring. That hurt the team a lot. But I don't think it's going to hurt as much as some people are saying, especially if the Lions can't implement a run game, any kind of semblance of a run game, because that lets Stafford get more time in the pocket. They won't load up, or they won't drop 2 safeties deep. They'll be trying to play up on the box more if we can get some semblance of a run game going. But Golden Tate's your number 1, and then Marvin Jones is your number 2. I think they'll make a good 1-2 duo. Tate's always been that real good, shifty, get the yards after the catch receiver. Marvin Jones is just flat out fast. He's going to be your deep threat, and Stafford's got that huge arm, so it's going to be great. Third receiver is a little bit tricky. I think right now it'll be Jeremy Curley. Played a lot of slot when he was with the Jets a couple years ago. Last year he didn't get used much. But I think it's going to go to Curley because of his ability, similar to Tate's. He's another shifty receiver. TJ Jones, I got going to the 4th. The Lions are hoping he can show something this year. Last year was a little wash. Didn't really do much. And then for the 5th and final receiver spot, I have Jay Lee, the undrafted free agent out of Baylor. He's got good size at 6'2", 211. Him making the team is more of a testament to how the other options for depth aren't that great. So I think he makes the team, bringing the receivers to 5 and the total team to 12. But I think the Lions are just done with Corey Fuller. He hasn't done anything in the time he's been there, and he's been high as like the 3rd receiver on the team. A couple guys that have a chance, I think, to make the team, but I think will just miss out are Quinshad Davis, the rookie undrafted free agent out of North Carolina. He's got great size again at 6'4", but I think that might be a practice squad guy. And then Andre Caldwell is a veteran option who could be reliable, but if the Lions choose to keep 6, I think it'll go down to Caldwell or Davis. With probably Davis winning out. I think the Lions will want to go more youth there. But so we have 5 receivers, 1 fullback, 4 running backs, 2 quarterbacks. Tight ends is you pray Ebron can break out this year, because we need it. It's bad. We kind of miss Joe Fourier right now. At least he could get the touchdowns. And Tim Wright just got put on injured reserve, so he's out for the season. Bram Pettigrew's recovering from his torn ACL. There's just the depth here allows for other guys to get the spot. But right now, I have Ebron is the number 1, Pettigrew is the number 2, and Matthew Mulligan is the number 3. But like I said, like right now, our other options are 3 guys who are undrafted free agents. I mean, the depth between Pettigrew and Mulligan could open up the door for one of these undrafted free agents to blow it up during preseason and force a Lions hand to keep one of them. Like Ben McCord out of Central Michigan, the guy they just signed earlier this week. Possible. I won't pretend to know a lot about him. Or the Cole Wick out of, I didn't even really have the college down, but undrafted, 6'6", 255, maybe. Adam Funche, I mean, another weird last name like Fourier, possible, but you just don't know. Like, these guys aren't very well known. I'm going with the known, keeping Pettigrew on the team, but it's totally possible the Lions decide they like one of these undrafted free agents better, and they get rid of Pettigrew because he's basically down to being a 6 offensive lineman that doesn't block very well anymore. He can't catch. Caldwell won't even put him out there for receiving. So, but I have Pettigrew staying on the team for right now just because there's not very many options. Now, offensive line was a big focus during the offseason for the team, as evidenced by our first-round pick being Taylor Decker out of Ohio State, who's getting a lot of snaps at left tackle, which kind of surprises some Lions fans. Like, pretty much been a right tackle all throughout college. But him playing left tackle has moved Riley Reif to right tackle, and maybe Reif will play better at right tackle. I don't think he's awful at left tackle. I think he's pretty average. There's definitely better, but there's definitely worse you can do. But for depth behind Reif and Taylor, Reif and Decker, I have Cornelius Lucas remaining with the team, and I have Michael Ola, who played pretty decent at right tackle throughout the back half of the season and kind of shorted up. I think he's played good enough last year to maintain or stay on the team as a backup tackle. Corey Robinson, didn't really notice anything from him last year. That could be a good thing, but I think Lucas is better off to play left tackle behind Decker, and Ola is better off to play right tackle behind Reif than Robinson is to play either. So that's why I made those decisions there. Oh, that pen's not working. I'm keeping track of the numbers. Like I said, I don't want to get one wrong or over. So I have 4 offensive tackles, 19 players so far. Offense is a little dry or a little weaker than the defense in terms of numbers. That's just because I saw a need more on having depth on defense than I did offense. So this could all change. The Lions could just decide to go crazy and keep all the running backs. They probably won't, but it's a choice. Now, for guards, you have Laken Tomlinson starting at left guard and Larry Warford starting at right guard, kind of like they finished out the year. You hope Tomlinson took a step this last year, and you hope Warford can get back up to where he was his rookie year. Backing up them, I have Jeff Schwartz, who is that perfect swing guard and can play a little bit of right tackle too. So you want a guy who's very versatile along the offensive line. The only position he can't play is center, or he hasn't played as center. Shouldn't say he can't. But and then I also have the rookie Joe Dahl making the team. Again, versatile guy who can play right tackle in a pinch if need, but probably will end up at left or right guard. I think the Lions will use more of Jeff Schwartz though because of how versatile he can be than they will of Dahl. So Chase Ferris, I know the team kind of likes him, but I don't know much about him. I know he played at Ohio State, and so, but I like Taylor Decker, so I'm not biased once they get to the Lions about my college teams and the players. And then the other two guys are undrafted free agents. One from Alabama, they just signed this week, Dominique Jackson, and Andrew Zeller, I won't pretend to know anything about, from Maryland. Center is a big competition this year. They drafted Graham Glasgow from Michigan in the 3rd, and then they have Travis Swanson, who they drafted 2 years ago in the 3rd round. Swanson did not impress many last year at center. I personally don't like him starting. He just center. I think that's mainly why Warford and Tomlinson looked as bad as they did last year, is because they were covering for Swanson's mistakes. He was constantly letting people get up the middle, and we had no run game existed behind him. So I think Glasgow will give him a big run for that position. I don't know who will end up winning it out, but it's going to be one of those two guys, and the other guy's going to be the backup. So Gabe Acard, I think, is going to be off the team. Didn't really see much. I don't think I saw much of him last year to know much. So we end up with only 25 players on the team on offense. So that leaves 28 players on defense. And like I said, this is where I think they're going to put a lot of their depth. Starting out at end. Ants is a starter. No doubt about that. He's one of the better 4-3 DNs in the country. Starting opposite of him, though, is where it gets a little hairy. Devin Taylor's proven to be pretty decent as a rotational guy, but as a starter, you don't know. We haven't seen much. He's shown these flashes of being good, but then he's also had these moments where he hasn't shown up. So I think backing them up is going to be Brandon Copeland. I mean, the team obviously likes him. They've kept him around this long. And then Wallace Gilberry, who they signed this offseason from the Bengals. I want to say Bengals. He's kind of been another rotational guy for his whole career, so that'd be good for the Lions to have him. And Anthony Zettel, I have also making the team. I think he'll probably be more of the... He's probably the closest thing we have to replacing Jason Jones. He can play D-tackle if need be. But so I have 5 DNs. The other guys are undrafted free agents who I don't know anything about. That's my running theme here. If I don't know a lot about them, they don't make the team. So that might be wrong, but it's just the way I'm doing it. So 5 DNs. Out for 30 players. Now, D-tackle is another loaded position. It needs to be loaded with contracts this year. We have all like the 3: Stephen Charles, Nagata, and Walker's contracts all come up at the end of the season. They're all basically playing on prove-it deals. The starters I have is Haloti Nagata. Yeah, he's probably the best D-tackle you have, so you have to start him. And then you have Tyron Walker, who is more of the pass-rushing D-tackle, whereas Nagata is a run-stopping. But what I like is what they did this year and got Ashawn Robinson, who you can rotate in with Nagata, and you have two big run-stopping guys in there. Or you can replace Nagata and be the run-stopping guy. If he can develop a pass rush, he's going to be great. And he's only 21. He looks 40 with his beard and his no hair. The dude looks like a beast. I have Stephen Charles making the fourth. Buffalo Bills have had nothing but nice things to say about him after he left the team, saying how good they thought he was. They just regretted they were not able to keep him. So, and then I have Karen Reed, who's shown a little bit last year. He can be trusted in a rotational role, which leaves Gabe Wright out. If Gabe Wright could play D-end, he'd probably make the team. If Gabe Wright or Karen Reed could be D-ends, they'd both make the team. But I think Gabe Wright hits the practice squad and be that emergency guy. If we have injuries on the D-line, he'll get caught up. But outside of that, I don't see much. So taking 5 D-tackles, I really would have liked to take 6 with Wright. I think he can be good. He just did not show a lot last year. He was a rookie. But, so, got the 5 D-tackles for a total of 35 players on the team, leaving 18 spots left on the team. Had to do my math real quick. Linebacker is another, there's a lot. We have a lot of linebackers on the team right now. It doesn't mean they're good, but you got DeAndre Levy and Tahir Whitehead, who are the starters. Lions like to run more of a 4-2-5 instead of a typical 4-3. They don't usually use 3 linebackers unless it's needed. They like to run 2 and then run 5 guys in the secondary. So you don't need a whole bunch of depth here, but you need enough. I have, like I said, Levy and Whitehead are the starters. And Josh Bynes did great last year, stepping up when Levy went down, and did pretty good. He was pretty solid as a backup and a starter there for a little bit, or for pretty much the whole season. Levy only played 1 game, and then he got hurt halfway through it, and they had to pull him back out for the rest of the season. I have the rookie Antoine Williams making the team too. The team is high on him. He was just a small school guy, but had the prototypical body you wanted out of a linebacker. Now, I have John Bostic making the team. Who knows? That would be if they try to run more of a normal 4-3. And I also have Kyle Van Noy making the team. I don't think the team gives up on him yet this year, even though it's a little iffy if they should or not. Stupid allergies. I do have them cutting Stephen Tulloch. I know he's still on the team, but the plans were cut him. I think there's an injury issue with him right now where they don't know. They had to pay out a settlement if they were to cut him. I think they're holding him out for trade bait, but I don't think a team's going to trade for a guy they know the Lions are probably going to cut anyways. So maybe he stays on in a mentorship role, but I don't think he'll be playing too often. It's kind of sad. He's not a bad linebacker, but last year, just you could tell, he lost the step with his age, and you need to start planning for the future. You don't keep a guy just because he's a nice guy. Cornerbacks is another iffy one this year. You had Rasheed Mathis retire, which opened up the starting job on the outside opposite of Slay. So Slay is your number 1. He's proven to be on his way to being one of those shutdown elite corners. I hate the word elite, but it's true. Quandre Diggs did great last year in his role coming out as a 7th or 6th round draft pick. He played pretty good across the rest of the whole season. I think Nevin Lawson will win the starting job opposite of Slay, but I think it's going to be closer than people think with Alex Carter, who didn't play at all last year due to injury. I think Carter might blow up during preseason, and he might win that job from Lawson, but I think Diggs is your starting slot guy no matter what. And then the team, I have Jonathan Batamasi making the team because he's that special teamer gunner that the team likes to keep on. So I don't know how well he can play corner, but that's a depth guy. You need him to just be special teams. So, I forgot to write down linebacker to make sure. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys for 41, and then for cornerback I had 5 to make it up to 46. Yeah, okay, my math is right. Good. Safety is going to be another interesting spot this year. You have Glover Quinn, who's proving to be a good, if not great, free safety last couple of years, just racking up the interceptions. The question, though, who's going to be the starter opposite of him? You have 3 guys who could be potentially pushing for that job between Raphael Bush, who was the former starter for the Saints, Tavon Wilson, who was a backup for the Patriots, or do you go with the rookie Miles Killebrew? Which I love that last name. It's a great last name for a guy who just hits hard. So, I don't know which way they go there. I'd like to think the rookie gets the job, but I think those 4 guys are going to be on the team with Wilson and Bush. I'm just going to say now, Wilson and Bush are going to be backing up Quinn and Killebrew, which means longtime special teamer Don Carey probably gets released from the team. So that brings the roster up to 50, which leaves us our 3 special teamers, the main special teamers. Sam Martin's going to be the punter. You're not going to get rid of him. Matt Prater proved last year he's still a good kicker. You're going to keep him on the team. And this might anger some Lions fans, but I have the rookie Jimmy Landis making the team as the long snapper. If he doesn't, it's a terrible 5th round draft pick. You just wasted a draft pick on a guy that wasn't going to make the team as a long snapper. But it'll be a competition for sure between him and Molback, who's the longest tenured Lions player. Now that Calvin's retired, or even before Calvin was retired, he was the longest tenured. But he's the only guy left from that era on the team. So, but I think Molback will get cut during the preseason, and they'll give the long snapping job to Landis. Just pray there's no mistakes. He doesn't make mistakes, because as soon as there's a kicking issue or a punting issue, everyone's going to light him up. Just like they did with the kicker Nate Freeze a couple years ago. That was pretty brutal. The team wasted a draft pick on a kicker that ended up cutting like 4 weeks into the season. But so yeah, that gets us to our 53 guys. They might keep 1 less D tackle or 1 less D end and choose to carry 3 quarterbacks, or go with 5 running backs or 6 receivers. But I see more needs on defense than I do offense. So yeah, this is the first video podcast. Like I said, not all going to be just Lions. There's going to be, once the basketball season ends and the NBA draft starts, we'll start doing some of that with the Detroit Pistons. As you see, got my Grand Valley hat on. Probably do some stuff from Grand Valley. U of M. Probably get some people on here who are MSU fans, and I have a friend who's a Notre Dame fan, so we'll probably get on here too and talk some trash. But yeah, we'll do more than just sports. So yeah, if you like this, let me know. do this more when we get more news going on right now. It's the slow part of the football season, so you're not gonna. Slow part of the football off season. It's during OTAs, and the media doesn't get allowed to watch a lot of them. So yeah, I guess we'll end it there. And if you liked it, leave a like, share it, subscribe to the channel, leave comments. I'll gladly chat with some of you guys. So yeah, cut it off there. So see you guys next time.